Welcome to another episode of the Velocity Dome on the Workbench. And tonight I'm going to put together a rear axle assembly for my Hopak race car. And I just thought I'd show you what I go about doing to put it together. I've got my tools out. I got my wheel press, I've got my wheels, my axle, my gear spacer, a washer, the gear, and then a little tool on the bottom that I'll show you what I do with that in just a second. So let's get going. Okay, so I've got my gear. It's BSRT gear. I've got my what I call a reamer. And what I like to do with this is to remove some plastic from inside the gear right here, just by doing a little bit of turning with this baby. And that kind of removes all the sharp edges off the end or inside of the gear. I will also do this side. And you can kind of see the little bit of plastic that I removed from the inside of the gear. And the reason I do that is so when I put it on the axle, it will not, bring up any plastic and have it on, come out the ends or in the way of my washer. So this is where my wheel puller comes into play. And I know they make other tools, but this is really all I got. So that's what I do with it. I just kind of line her up and then slowly kind of turn it on. Pushing the axle in there a little bit. Of course, it only goes so far, and that's where I get the finger muscles out. And I just push it on until I can see just a little bit of the spindle portion, or the whatever that portion of the gear is called, where they've done the groove into it. Then I'll take it out. I'll grab my washer and I will put that there on the end. And the reason I use a washer is I actually don't really use the gear saver portion of this. If I were to use it, I would do it exactly the same way, where I would hog out the plastic in there a little bit on both sides, and then I'd actually put a washer between it and the gear when you put it on. But for some reason, I just don't like using these. I feel like my pinion gear oftentimes kind of rubs too much on it, so that's where this bigger, larger spacer comes into play. So now I'm going to grab the wheels and put those on. So right back. Okay, I realized I forgot to mention that the spacer I have is a 20 thou spacer. So let's grab these rear wheels. Grab my little reamer tool. Just a little bit of movement in there just to clean out that plastic. And of course, I only do the side that goes on the actual axle itself. Now we'll grab the. So one of the things I'll do too is I'll make sure that the axle and the chassis I'll make sure there's no big play in there. And so that just obviously is going to let it keep it contacted well, and it rotates good. I know these cars seem to really love a good gear mesh, and honestly, I'm not real good at that. So we'll get the wheel. And we'll go through the same process here. The BSRT tool has the little flanges to fit the wheel right in there. And then we'll slowly turn it on and push the axle in. And again, I'll stop right where the spline ends. So that's one. Looks like I got that one maybe a little bit too tight. So we'll get out the puller. Just a little tweak to move it away. There we go. So that's what I do for my rear axle assembly. If you have any ideas that maybe I can do this better to make myself with a better gear mesh, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.